else, there are more issues for us to deal with. In fact, minority in Parliament is asking the government of Ghana to scale up support for some Ghanaian students stranded at Sumy, one of the hotspots in Ukraine, as part of efforts to ensure safety of its citizens. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration yesterday disclosed that about over 460 students have been evacuated to neighboring countries, including Poland, Hungary, Romania, Slovakia, and then Czech Republic. The sector minister herself, Shirley Ayokoboche, says the numbers are bound to increase in a few days from now. She's been giving updates on the land evacuation being carried out by the Ghanaian Foreign Mission in Switzerland and other parts of the country.
As at midday today, 27th of February, information gathered was that about over 460 students have left Ukraine en route to Poland, Hungary, Romania, Slovakia, and Czech Republic. The students will be received by officials of our diplomatic missions, honorary consuls, and officials of the students' union or associations. We are pleased to provide the breakdown of those who have exited Ukraine as follows. 132 have arrived in Bucharest, Romania, and our officer on the ground is preparing tickets for some of them to leave tomorrow to Accra. Reason why I say some of them is because the distance between the holding area and the city itself is, I'm told, over 500 kilometers. Am I correct? And so some of them are on their way to the city. At the moment, he has with him 24 of them who are at the airport, and he's trying to get them on Qatar Airways to Accra. Some are being processed at the holding area, and I'm told about 60 of them are going through border formalities. So they're on the other side of the Ukraine border, going through border formalities to get into Romania. 38, having crossed into Poland, are with our officials. We are currently also making arrangements for those who are willing to be assisted to get on flights. 25 persons en route to Prague from Slovakia were assisted by the honorary consul and will be received on entry by the mission in Prague. 25 just this morning arrived in Hungary and are being sheltered at the Pentecostal Church in Budapest.
Well, so that's the Foreign Affairs Minister, Shirley Ayokoboche. Meanwhile, the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, says a lot more needs to be done, and as information available to his office reveals that some persons are in Sumy as we speak who are stranded.
There is still a lot of work to be done. Our embassy officials do not appear to be physically present at the border crossing points to extend consular assistance, particularly in countries like Romania, Poland, Slovakia, and Hungary. The students seem to really go through a hell of a struggle, and then when they are assisted by the officials in those countries, that is either Romanian officials or Slovak officials or Hungarian officials, it is at that point that later on our officials go to meet them. This is what the students are telling me. And so I would want to appeal to the Foreign Ministry to ask our consular officials to be more up and doing. They should reach out to the officials who are manning those borders and have some bilateral arrangement with them. And some physical presence will help, because there are complaints of racism, the ordeal, the trauma that they go through as they struggle to cross the border points. I think that we can explore diplomatic channels to ease the burden on those who are crossing. So that's my first concern. The second concern I have is with those who are stranded.
Well, Senator Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, ranking on the Parliament Foreign Affairs Committee. Joining us now via Zoom is Andy Amuzu, who is a former Nukes Ukraine Public Relations Officer, representative of the Nukes Ukraine evacuation team here in Ghana. They are coordinating all of the activities happening in Ukraine. Boateng Benjamin Kojo is Public Relations Officer for Nukes Ukraine. I'm grateful, gentlemen, that you're joining us now. So let me start off with you, Benjamin. What's the level of safety in terms of the reports you're gathering? What can you tell us about the safety of your colleagues there in Ukraine?
Well, good evening and thank you for having me. Well, if I'm to rate the level of safety in Sumy, in my city, I would say from 0 to 5%. We are 95% not safe and only 0 to 5% safe.
And what's that supposed to mean? Because we're getting indications from the government of Ghana that at least some evacuation is happening through the land borders. So how about that?
That's not true. I'm in my city, and then, of course, I'm the only national official in Sumy. There are no movement of buses, there are no movement of trains that have taken any single Ghanaian student in Sumy towards any border. At the moment, we are stranded. We have Russian troops that are at the outskirts of Sumy, and so people are not allowed to move. And so when we hear such information that people are moving, I'm part of my page. If the people are moving, they will tell me.
But at least we know of the official number 460 from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. At least they may not be in your area, but that could be still within Ukraine, right?
Yes, of course, that could be within Ukraine. But I mean, I'm talking about my city. That could be within Ukraine, 460. And again, even this number, I would say that it's an approximation. It's not definite.
Right.
So for my city, we are stranded. No single person has been moved by any single bus made by the government. That's not true.
That's a shocking revelation you're making there. But give us a picture of Sumy itself and where it is in the wake of all this tension that's happening between Russia and Ukraine.
Well, Sumy is at the eastern part of Ukraine, and if you look at the map, you realize that Sumy shares a border with Russia. And so if we talk about invasion, you expect that it is very easy for Russian troops and soldiers to move from Russia into Sumy. And so we are one of the most attacked cities in the Russia-Ukrainian tension. And right now, you know, because of course the President Zelensky said that if you are 18 years and above and then you can defend your country, you come for weapons. So right now you would see clearly, I mean, my room yesterday night, I saw people who were trying to, you know, smoking and having guns, and you expect the kind of pain and, you know, the fright that happens. Right now, it is evident to every single Ghanaian student in Sumy that you walk and sometimes you walk past people with guns. It's very easy. We see them. I mean, it's becoming normal to us. We've seen them over and over again. And we are talking about ladies who are just 18 to 24. Imagine a lady sees somebody with a gun. The first thing is to scream. So you can realize the pain and agony that people go through.
Right.
And of course, then when you hear a siren go for about 3 minutes, you know it's an emergency situation.
Right.
A lady who's running from the ninth floor downwards comes into the bunker after they say it's safe to go upstairs, the person goes up.
Yeah.
All this pain and agony is what we are going through. So
I can imagine how much of a trauma it is for you out there as students. But the government, I must indicate, has admitted difficulties in reaching Sumy. But what's the level of interaction between the foreign mission there or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs? We know that they've established some lines as well. Are you in talks with them, and are you still in touch with the Ghanaian officials?
Respectfully, we are in touch with them. No two ways about them. We keep talking to them. But the issue is that what has come to the table? You can talk to somebody, but you should be able to produce results. Talk alone doesn't end there. We are talking about 130 lives to move them out of the city, and then we talk about talks. It's really cost 90-0. So for communication, the communication is there. But the issue is what has come to the table, what has improved since the talks, and that is what we are looking for. So that's for talks we are, but really there has not been any improvement in terms of, number one, money that has been sent to us to be able to support ourselves. Money has not been sent by any governmental official. All monies that we have used are monies that Nuke's Ukraine leadership themselves raising up to about $3,000. This money has been used by Nuke's Ukraine leadership themselves to try and support us moving one way or the other. Money has not been sent by any governmental official to any Nuke's Ukraine leadership. That's not true. Again, bars has not been sent by any governmental official, any honorary consular to any Ghanaian student in Nuke's Ukraine. This Boating Benjamin, PRO of Nuke's Ukraine, is confirming now. So that is the situation we find ourselves in.
You are on the grounds, and so you're able to give us a clear picture of what's happening within Sumy now. The ranking on the Foreign Affairs Committee, Samuel Kujetua-Blackwell, has confirmed, indicating the story that you're also putting out at this point. But what's on the ground? Is it the case that you can't move out entirely, or you will be able to move out once you have some facilitation from the Ghanaian mission there?
Well, right now we can't move out entirely because, like I said, you have Russian troops on your border, and so if you decide to move, you know that, I mean, it's tough. It's not safe outside. It's not safe outside.
So if exactly the point. So if you can't move out, what's the guarantee then that I mean, it's possible for the foreign mission to come to your aid at this moment? Could it not be as a result of the difficulties in trying to negotiate a way through?
I believe that the foreign ministry has links and has communication with different countries. And so if we want to make a move, the foreign ministry should be able to communicate this information to this country and then establish what we call a bilateral communication. Maybe these people will agree, sit them down on the table, bring this out, and then we can move. Of course, it's grounded, but the foreign ministry should be able to bring something out.
Right.
If they are not able to bring something out, then we have to be looking at them and saying, why didn't you come for us earlier when you heard that other nationalities were taking their people out of the country? So in either way, the issue or the thing will be brought to the foreign ministry. You had the opportunity to do this last week of January. You didn't do it. Now we are in a dying situation, so you have to produce something now. There wouldn't be any time for any more excuses. You have to produce something.
What's your message to the Foreign Affairs Minister? She's obviously been giving updates on the evacuation. We're expecting the first March to arrive here in Ghana later tonight. But what's your message to her, really?
First and foremost, we Ghanaian students in Sumy are disappointed at the Foreign Ministry based on what has happened so far. Right from the last week of January up to now, we haven't received what we call support from the Foreign Ministry in terms of money to keep ourselves and also any evacuation measure. No. Things have been brought, but these are not feasible. So first and foremost, we are disappointed at what has happened. The second thing is that we want them to speak the truth in the media. If you have not sent any money to any student in Sumy or in any part of Ukraine, if you have not provided any pass for anybody to get evacuated or move from one part of the country to the other, please do not send this information into the media. Do not deceive our parents that efforts are being made when efforts are not being made. You would, of course, just before we came, you were playing a voice note of Honorable Ablakwa that said that even the honorary consuls that have been, their numbers have been given out to the media. These people are not present at the borders. So again, you can ascertain the amount of deception that is going around, that this is happening when we on the ground realize that absolutely nothing is happening. The last thing we want to tell them is that you were supposed to come for us, you didn't. And now we have got to this situation. The last resort that we are putting before you is to produce something. If you don't produce anything, then we can faithfully say that the government will and will not do anything about this situation. And we Ghanaian students need to do something to get ourselves out of this situation.
What are you likely to do? What are you considering?
Well, to keep fighting, as we can only keep hopes alive, to keep fighting, try to get passes on our own, as we have done. At least we have been able to move people from different cities to the borders. This was done by Nuke's Ukraine leadership. And so we'll keep fighting, we'll keep checking, we will not give hopes on the people in Sumy. If others have, we just need to be positive and hope that as we keep checking, as we keep pushing, we will be able to get something, as we have done for other people in different cities.
Fingers crossed. We wish you the best. Boating Benjamin Kojo is the Public Relations Officer for Nuke's in Ukraine. Andy is also on with us. He's coordinating all of the activities from here. Andy, so you've heard from your colleagues there in Ukraine. Why is the evacuation process becoming a challenge? Don't you have proper records of your members, some of the people who are out there studying?
So we do have records. Now the problem is Russia is not just attacking one city at a time. Russia is attacking every single city in Ukraine at the same time. The problem is also that we had to organize buses, transportation for all these people to the borders. We didn't get information as fast as we could. So you have a situation where most of the Ukrainians driving these buses are scared. They don't know which routes are safe. So it's been a gamble from day one. And just like Benjamin said, it has just been Nukes Ukraine doing this job from the beginning. For the 450, the Foreign Affairs Minister spoke about yesterday, we actually organized buses for them and got them. We had to figure out which borders are safe.
I'm sorry, Andy, are you disputing the figures as well? The fact that some monies have been sent to Ghanaian students in Ukraine?
No government official has sent one cedi to any student in Ukraine. I can tell you for a fact that all the buses that were sent to carry Ghanaian students from their cities to the borders were self-financed by the union and the students. As Benjamin said, the union had 90,000 grievance in their coffers, around $30,000. And that is what we've been using. At the moment in Ukraine, a seat in a bus costs around $200. The students have been trying themselves. And the problem is that because of the war, ATMs are not working in most of the cities. So even the students themselves cannot access their own money. We have money to get them across. For 4 days now, we've been working, trying to get them across from all parts of Ukraine.
But the number we're receiving from the Foreign Affairs Ministry indicates that some 460 persons, in terms of evacuation, I mean, they've been moved safely. Government is hoping to increase the numbers and to bring some back home. So the people coming back home were not rescued by the Foreign Ministry? Is that your position?
With all due respect, if you bring people to come and stand behind the borders, waiting for students to manage and get themselves from Ukraine and cross the borders on their own, for you to now pick them and then say you are putting them on a plane to Ghana, that is not helping the students. I'm sorry, but that is the truth. It took Nukes executives, students on their own who were trying to flee this same war, and a couple of help from past students and past leaders like myself from Ukraine, and then Nukes Ghana and Gooks Association to help these students cross over to the border. As I'm talking to you, the 460 they are saying have crossed to safety. Most of them are standing at the borders. They've not yet gotten inside these countries we are talking about. We are being told that tomorrow 35 students from TNFC are arriving in Ghana. Now, these people did not get across the border on their own. Nukes Ghana got them to the border and across. The government promised that they will be sending representatives to come and get our students from the border. The representatives are not there. The numbers that they gave that we could call for help, I am challenging you to call those numbers and see if anybody picks up those numbers. They are not picking the numbers. Our students are at the border. Some of them have to travel 20 hours without food and water to get to the border. Now, when they get to the border, some of them have to be there for 3 days before they get across the border. Government says they sent messages to these countries to help our people. They are not getting them across the border. If you stand behind the border and then when somebody is able to get in, you carry the person and say you are bringing the person to Ghana. So if there is money to carry people from those countries and bring them to Ghana, why can't we use some of that money to transport people from the places they are in Ukraine to the border?
Right, Andy, and what we know is that government is engaging parents tomorrow. Have you engaged the ministry itself as Nukes collectively raising all of these concerns that you're putting across right now?
Yesterday, some of the leaders were at the press conference. Myself, I was there. And we initially wanted to actually come question the government on some of these issues, but we're not given the chance. We got a chance to speak to one or two of their leaders, and they made promises to us that they were going to get things done. They said that we should understand that they are not going to be able to do this as fast as we wanted. That it's going to take time. We understand that it's a time of war and things are not going to go as smoothly as possible.
Right.
But
so just for clarity purposes, what you mean to say is that even the first batch that will be arriving, as you're indicating, tomorrow and not today, is fully sponsored by a group. When are they arriving? Because you have information on that.
Sir, as I talk to you, we don't know when they are arriving. When they got over the border, Ghana government got them and bought plane tickets and is bringing them to Ghana. But what I'm saying is that from Ukraine to the border and helping them cross the border has been the sole duty of Nukes Ukraine. That has been the sole duty of Nukes Ukraine. Government has not had a hand in it. They made promises that they will bring representatives to pick us up at the border. Imagine convincing someone's ward that suffer 20 hours, risky routes, get to the border, and then Ghana will be there to help you. And they get to the border and there is nobody there. Rather, the representatives are waiting behind the border that in case they cross, then they will help them from that point. You spoke to Ben about Sumy. We have been trying to get them to send money to Sumy because earlier on the ATMs were not working. Today we had confirmation ATMs are working. So help send money, get food for the Sumy students because they are stuck.
Right, and Andy, unfortunately, we don't have all of the time, but one more issue under contention now has got to do with the claims by Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa that some students were attacked in the process of the evacuation. Do you have any reports on that? Is that true? And what accounted for the incident that's been reported?
Well, because everybody is moving towards the border, we have instances where whilst the students are traveling, there's fighting on the street. They have to move to different routes. We have also instances where in Harcourt, for example, some of the students were going to board a train and then they started bombing. So some of them, most of the students have lost their documents because they are running and all of that. We have issues at the train stations where racism is going on while they are not allowing blacks join the trains to safety. We have at the borders they are tasing people, asking blacks.
So you're virtually confirming the attacks. That's what you mean to say.
Yes.
People are being attacked.
People at the borders. They are moving people to the back of the borders. They are not allowing people in. Those ones we can confirm.
Right. Andy, we'll still keep our eyes on that, but I'm grateful. Andy Amuzu is the former Nukes Ukraine PRO, giving us the very latest on the tension between Russia and Ukraine and how that's affecting Ghanaian students. This is The Pulse. When we return, we'll talk about fuel prices and transport fares. Stay with us.